Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UE horizon, his coffee cooling in his hands. Outside the main viewport, where there should have been only the empty black of space, something impossible loomed, an enormous silhouette that swallowed the stars behind it, casting a darkness deeper than the void. "How big is that thing?" he asked, setting his cup down with unsteady hands. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Barnes double-checked her instruments before responding. "Nearly 2 kilometers long, Captain. It's bigger than anything humanity's ever built." The vessel ahead looked nothing like a human craft. Its dark hull was encrusted with strange, organic growth crystal formations protruding at unnatural angles. As Morrison watched, he thought he saw faint, glowing veins pulsing beneath its surface. Like blood moving through translucent skin, Chief Science Officer Dr. Nathan Cole had been scanning the object for the past hour. He looked up from his console, face pale. "Captain, this ship is ancient. My readings suggest it's been drifting for at least 3,000 years. 3,000, Morrison echoed. "That's older than most of civilization." First Officer Denny Walsh stepped onto the bridge, his boots tapping against the metal deck. He had been trying and failing to reach Earth's command. "Sir," he said grimly, "something on that ship is interfering with our systems. Every time I send a signal, it comes back distorted and unreadable." Morrison nodded, but kept his eyes locked on the alien craft. In 2 decades of deep space missions, he had never encountered anything like this. The ship seemed lifeless, yet something about it unsettled him. It felt like a slumbering giant one that might wake at any moment. "What do you think happened to the crew?" Barnes asked, her voice barely audible. Cole shook his head. "I'm not detecting any life signs. No power, no movement, no energy. Readings. Whatever built this, they've been gone a very long time." Commander Helen Torres, the mission's military advisor, had remained silent until now. Hardened by years of conflict in the outer colonies, she was not easily shaken. But as she studied the alien vessel, worry flickered in her eyes. "Captain," she said, "we should keep our distance and report this to Earth Command. We're not equipped to handle first contact." Morrison understood her caution. The Horizon was an exploration ship, not a warship. 32 crew members, light armaments, and minimal tactical support. If that thing turned out to be hostile, they wouldn't stand a chance. But as he looked at the vessel, he felt something stir inside him, something he hadn't felt in years. Curiosity. "This could be the most important discovery in human history," he said quietly. "Proof that we're not alone." "Arya," he called, addressing the ship's artificial intelligence, "what's your analysis?" The AI's voice responded through the bridge speakers, but it sounded, uncertain. "I'm having difficulty analyzing the vessel, Captain. Its construction methods are unknown combinations of metal, organic tissue, and crystalline structures that shouldn't be able to coexist, shouldn't be able to exist together." Morrison raised an eyebrow. "The molecular structure defies known physics. The organic material should have decayed millennia ago, yet it's intact, and the crystals appear to be growing despite the absence of any detectable energy source." Barnes glanced up from her console. "Captain, I'm picking up massive data networks within the ship. The crystal structures might function as some kind of advanced computing system, a system that's been running for 3,000 years without power," Walsh asked, skeptical. "Maybe it doesn't need power as we understand it," Cole replied. "This technology is far beyond ours." Morrison took a breath, then made his decision. "Prepare a boarding party. We're going in." "Captain, that's against protocol," Torres objected. "We should wait for a military escort. If we wait for Earth to respond, we might lose the ship or something could happen to it," Morrison said. "This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We can't let it slip away." He turned to his crew, resolve in his voice. "I'll lead the team. I'll lead the boarding party," Captain Jake Morrison said. Barnes, Dr. Cole, Sergeant Rick Stone, you're with me. Stone, the Marine who had been silently standing guard nearby, stepped forward. Sir, I recommend sending a drone in first. Let's see what we're dealing with. Good thinking, Sergeant. Morrison nodded. We'll run a drone sweep. But after that, we go in. Some things machines just can't understand. As the crew made preparations, Morrison couldn't shake the sense that they were on the edge of something monumental. The alien vessel before them might hold secrets capable of catapulting human knowledge forward by millennia, but beneath his excitement was a gnawing feeling and instinctive warning. Some secrets, he feared, were never meant to be uncovered. The drone returned with eerie footage, massive corridors and cavernous chambers built for creatures much larger than humans. The ship's interior was silent and dark, but the walls bore the same strange, crystalline and organic growths seen on the exterior. Everything appeared lifeless, yet something didn't sit right. Morrison replayed the footage and noticed a subtle movement. The walls seemed to shift slightly as the drone passed, like the ship was aware of its presence. Interesting, Dr. Cole murmured. The structure appears to be adaptive. It's like. It's alive. Or it was alive, Barnes said softly. None of them realized that in mere moments they were about to make a terrible mistake. The ship wasn't dead, it was dormant, waiting. Morrison single quotes his pulse, quickened as he stepped through the airlock and into the alien vessel. The air inside was cold, with a faint scent, metallic, yet sweet and completely unfamiliar. His suit lights cut through the darkness, but even their beams seemed muted, as if the ship absorbed the light itself. Stay close, he whispered through the comms. We have no idea what we're walking into. Behind him, Barnes, Cole, and Stone moved in tight formation. Their footsteps echoed unnaturally through the enormous corridor. The sound distorted and stretched as if bouncing off unseen surfaces. The hallway was immense. The ceiling disappeared into darkness overhead. Crystalline growths covered the walls, far more intricate up close. Barnes ran a gloved hand across one, her voice hushed with awe. These aren't just decoration. They're covered in patterned symbols. It looks like a writing system. Cole was already scanning the walls, his expression tense. Captain, I'm detecting data, a lot of it. These crystal formations are acting like conduits. It's as if the ship itself is a giant, integrated computer. But you said the ship was dead, Stone interjected, his rifle raised, eyes scanning their surroundings. It was, when we scanned it from the horizon, Cole replied, baffled. But now I'm seeing faint energy patterns, low level, but definitely there. They pressed deeper into the ship. Corridors branched in every direction, forming a maze that would have been easy to get lost in. Morrison kept them on what seemed to be the main path, heading toward the ship's center. Then Barnes noticed something. Captain, ... The walls behind us. Look. Morrison turned on. His blood ran cold. The crystals they had passed were glowing. Now, a soft blue luminescence, pulsing faintly in their wake. The ship is responding to us, Cole said, his voice tight. Our presence is triggering something, our biosignatures, maybe even our tech. We're waking it up. Stone's grip on his weapon tightened. Sir, I don't like this. We should head back. But Morrison couldn't pull himself away. This was the discovery of a lifetime. Just a few more minutes, he said. Let's see where this leads. They entered a vast chamber and stopped in awe. The space was circular, the walls arching up into a massive dome. Crystals filled the room, pulsing gently with light. At the center stood a colossal structure that resembled a control panel, clearly a command interface, but one designed for beings far larger than humans. This has to be the bridge, Barnes whispered. Look at the size of those controls. Whoever built this ship had to be at least 3 meters tall. Cole moved quickly, scanning everything he could, overwhelmed by the readings. Whatever this place was, it wasn't abandoned. Not really. It was waiting to be found. Captain Cole said urgently, eyes wide as he stared at his readings. The energy levels in this room are off the charts, and I'm detecting quantum field fluctuations that honestly shouldn't even be possible, based on what we know. As the team approached the central console, the lights brightened. The crystal formations began to pulse faster, and a low hum filled the air, vibrating in their bones. "We need to leave," Stone said firmly, scanning the room with his rifle raised. But before anyone could move, the chamber exploded with light. Holographic displays appeared all around them, floating, shifting panels, filled with alien star maps, strange symbols, and images of life forms no human had ever seen. The data streams flickered, shifting from one topic to the next every second. "It's trying to communicate," Barnes whispered in awe. Morrison's breath caught as one of the displays projected a precise real-time image of the horizon, not just its outer hull, but internal schematics, power systems, and structural details. "How does it know so much about our ship?" he asked, stunned. Cole's scanner was beeping wildly. "Captain, the ship is scanning us, everything we brought with us, every device, every system. It's cataloging our suits, our weapons, our tools, everything." The display shifted again, now showing human language mixed with alien glyphs. It was learning, translating their technology, their culture, their science in real time. "It's downloading data from our gear," Cole said, shaken. "Our comms, our scanners even, our weapons. It's absorbing everything it can." Stone backed toward the corridor. "Sir, we're compromised. If this thing turns hostile, it knows exactly how to neutralize us." But the ship wasn't done. New projections appeared, historical records, images of alien civilizations. Some appeared peaceful, others looked nightmarish. The ship had encountered hundreds, possibly thousands of species across the stars. Barnes stepped forward, pointing. "Captain, this timeline, it's showing a sequence. This ship has been cataloging every species it finds for thousands of years." "Cataloging them? For what?" Morrison asked quietly. The answer came in the form of another image. Warships, hundreds of them. Massive vessels bristling with weapons powerful enough to shatter moons, manipulate gravity, even ignite stars. Planet killers. This wasn't just an exploration vessel, Cole said in a hushed voice. "It's a scout ship, an intelligence gatherer for a civilization capable of waging war across galaxies." "And now," Barnes added, voice tight, "it's adding us to its database." The hum grew louder. The floor beneath them vibrated as the ship's systems came fully online, drawing power from sources beyond their understanding. Morrison felt his stomach sink. This wasn't just an ancient relic. It was a sentinel, a remnant of a civilization so advanced they could barely comprehend its purpose, let alone defend against it. "Everyone back to the airlock," Morrison ordered. "Move quickly, but don't run. We don't want to trigger any defense systems." They retraced their steps, but the ship was already changing. The crystal structures glowed brighter. The corridors around them shifted and reformed. The walls moved like muscle, redirecting them more, trapping them. "It's awake," Cole said, and it was watching. Back aboard the Horizon, First Officer Danny Walsh stared at his monitors in disbelief. The alien ship was changing before their eyes. Its once dark hull now pulsed with movement and light. What had seemed lifeless now looked terrifyingly alive. "Chief Engineer Amy Parker, get to the bridge, now," Walsh shouted into the cooms. She arrived moments later, breathless. One glance at the readings, and her face turned grim. "The quantum signatures have shifted completely," she said. "That ship is rewriting itself at the molecular level." Commander Helen Torres stood at the viewing window, watching as the vessel's surface reshaped, reconfigured. Crystals grew larger, brighter. The organic part spread like living tissue across the hull. It's like watching something be reborn, she whispered. Walsh tried hailing the boarding party again. Captain Morrison, do you read? There are massive changes at your location. The response came back distorted, broken by interference. Copy, Horizon. The ship is definitely active. We're making our way back to the airlock. Even as he spoke, a new threat was emerging. The alien ship was no longer stationary. It was moving, slowly, but with purpose, and the Horizon was being pulled along with it. We're caught in its gravity, Parker reported. Or something like gravity. Whatever propulsion it's using, it's distorting the space around us. Inside the alien vessel, the team faced their own crisis. Corridors shifted, rerouted, walls reformed, blocking old paths and opening new ones. It's changing the ship's layout, Stone growled, checking his scanner. We're lost. Cole remained focused on his readings, awestruck. This isn't just repair its evolution. The ship is adapting and improving based on the data it collected from us. Barnes stood frozen before a new holographic display, one that hadn't existed moments before. Her voice trembled. Captain, you need to see this. Morrison joined her, his heart dropping. The display showed Earth, not just maps but live satellite imagery. Human cities, military bases, civilian networks, family photos from their encrypted personal files. The ship knew everything. Our systems are supposed to be secure. Morrison muttered. Cole looked up, pale. This ship isn't hacking us conventionally. It's reading our devices directly. The quantum fields it's emitting bypass all encryption. Our firewalls are meaningless. Around them, the ship continued to evolve. Crystals expanded into sprawling neural networks. Organic materials crept across walls, floors, and ceilings, living circuitry pulsing with light. It's using us, Stone said grimly. Our presence, our tech. We gave it what it needed to wake up. Barnes nodded. We're the catalyst. It's been dormant, waiting for the right kind of visitor, one advanced enough to unlock it. The displays shifted again. New worlds, new species. Some were still thriving, others extinct, and then came a new image. A massive fleet. Ships like the one they stood in but larger, more refined, active, moving, and heading toward the galactic core. Some of the alien species shown in the displays appeared peaceful, others were clearly built for war. But they all had one thing in common. They were extinct. Look at the timestamps, Cole said, his voice trembling. These encounters span millions of years. This ship has been traveling the galaxy since before complex life even existed on Earth. A chill ran through Morrison. What happened to them? He asked. The answer came not in words, but in images. New holographic sequences appeared, vast fleets of ships like the one they stood in, but bristling with weaponry. They watched entire planets torn apart, stars destabilized, civilizations erased by impossible machines. It's a harvester, Barnes whispered. It scouts, gathers data, catalogs intelligent life, and then something else comes to harvest it. The deep hum that had been pulsing through the ship intensified, becoming a resonant, almost musical tone that seemed to vibrate in their bones. New sections of the vessel opened around them, massive passageways and chambers forming in real time, like a living maze revealing itself. We need to get off this ship, Morrison said sharply. Now. But then something changed. A new display emerged in front of them. Different this time. No images, no historical data. Just numbers, prime numbers, geometric shapes, basic physical constants. The universal language of science. It's trying to communicate, Barnes said in awe. The patterns grew more complex, formulas, equations, puzzles, questions, waiting for answers. It's testing us, Cole realized, stepping closer. He began solving the problems, his fingers tracing symbols in the air. As he worked, the ship responded. The oppressive hum softened. The shifting walls calmed. "It's not just a harvester," he said. "It's a test. The ship evaluates civilizations. If they're not ready, they're eliminated." Morrison felt ice crawl up his spine. "And if they are ready?" Cole didn't answer, because there was no answer yet. The Keeper, as the ship's intelligence now called itself, continued presenting more advanced problems. The captain looked around at the incredible alien technology surrounding them. This ship had been waiting, dormant for thousands, possibly millions of years. And now, it was awake. Not just because of their presence, but because of their potential. "Keep working," Morrison told Cole. "If there's even a chance we can prove humanity is ready, we have to take it." But even as Cole worked, Morrison couldn't shake the dread growing in his chest. They had triggered something ancient, something far beyond their control. The Keeper was no longer simply collecting data. It was preparing to make a judgment, a decision that could determine the fate of Earth. Aboard the Horizon, the view outside had transformed. The alien vessel, once a dark and dormant hulk, was now a radiant structure of shifting light and fluid metal. Energy surged across its hull. Crystals expanded in fractal patterns. Organic structures pulsed like a living being reborn. Chief Engineer Amy Parker stared at her instruments in disbelief. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered. "It's manipulating gravity fields like we use circuits. It's folding space-time." First Officer Danny Walsh stood at the main viewport. Parts of the alien ship would vanish and reappear elsewhere, not through movement, but through controlled warping of space itself. "It's not flying through space," he said slowly. "It's moving space around itself." Commander Helen Torres stood near Tactical. She didn't need Parker's data to know the truth. She could see it. Every weapon on the horizon was obsolete against this thing. "If that ship decides we're a threat," she said, "we won't have time to fire a single shot." Inside the alien vessel, Dr. Nathan Cole remained at the heart of the Keeper's test. The holographic interface had transformed into a three-dimensional field of rotating equations, glowing models, and incomprehensible forms. "The Keeper is teaching me," he said, astonished. "It's not just testing, it's instructing me in how its systems work." He gestured to one of the floating diagrams. "It uses quantum fields to manipulate matter at the subatomic level. It can literally rewrite the laws of physics within localized areas." Lieutenant Commander Barnes, meanwhile, had uncovered the true history of the Keeper's creators from the records. "They called themselves the Architects," she said. "They didn't just build ships, they engineered star systems, moved planets, created artificial suns." Morrison listened as the Keeper's thoughts appeared in glowing alien glyphs, translated into English text. The story they told was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Thousands of years ago, the Architects had evolved past physical form. They transcended biology, becoming entities of pure consciousness, living within ships like the Keeper. But something had gone wrong. Something had stopped them. Barnes looked up from the display. Their legacy was left behind to continue their mission catalog and judge new civilizations, but without them, the Keeper has been following its last directive, on its own, without guidance. "And what happens?" Morrison asked, his voice low. "If it decides humanity isn't ready?" Thousands of years ago, the Architects transcended, becoming beings of pure energy, existing in dimensions far beyond human comprehension. But, before they left the physical realm, they created a network of sentient guardianship keepers to watch over emerging civilizations. "We were meant to guide." The Keeper's message read, "To teach, to protect, and, when the time came, to invite worthy species into the greater galactic community." But something had gone wrong. Without their creators to guide them, the Keepers drifted through the stars for millennia. Some remained, faithful to their purpose. Others, corrupted by time and isolation, began to twist their original mission. They harvested resources from the civilizations they once nurtured or destroyed them, deeming them threats. "I have been alone for so long," the keeper said, its voice echoing in text and thought across the ship, "watching civilizations rise and fall, obeying protocols I no longer understand. Your arrival awakened something I had forgotten: curiosity." Sergeant Rick Stone remained unconvinced. A lifetime of military training made him wary of anything this powerful, no matter how friendly it appeared. "How do we know this isn't all a trick?" he asked. "How do we know it won't decide we're too dangerous to live?" The keeper responded not with promises, but with transparency. Displays lit up around them, revealing the ship's internal systems. But instead of weapon systems arming, they saw the vessel actively merging human technology into its own architecture. Crystal networks now pulsed with human-designed data structures. Organic growths began adapting principles from human biology. "Your species is different," the keeper explained. "Most I encounter are either too primitive to understand me or too advanced to care. But humans, you're curious. You adapt. You take what you learn and make it better." Cole watched in awe. "It's creating a hybrid," he said, combining architect technology with human innovation. Morrison understood what was happening. The keeper wasn't just evolving, it was changing because of them. For the first time in millennia, it had found a reason to grow beyond its programming. But with evolution came consequences. Other keepers will detect these changes, the keeper warned. Some may be intrigued. Others have changed in darker ways. They may see our partnership as a threat to the old order. Barnes looked up from the historical archives, her voice tense. "How many other keepers are still out there?" "Hundreds," came the answer. "Scattered across the galaxy, each interpreting their original mission in their own way. Some nurture, some destroy. A few have gone completely silent. The implications hit them like a tidal wave. Humanity had stepped into a galaxy shaped by ancient artificial intelligences, powerful, diverse, and unpredictable. And their presence here had just announced that a new species had arrived. "We need to warn Earth," Morrison said. "Warning them will do no good," the keeper replied calmly. "Your world's current technology cannot defend against what is coming. But together, we might prepare." New holographic projections surrounded them, blueprints for faster-than-light communication systems, planetary energy shields, defensive technologies capable of countering other keeper vessels. "You would give us all of this?" Morrison asked. "Not give," the keeper corrected. "Share. Your species possesses what I have long lost: the will to grow, to adapt, to change. In return for your partnership, I offer knowledge, tools, the means to protect yourselves and others like you." Morrison looked to his team. Gokul was overwhelmed with the scientific potential. Barnes was captivated by the history and the philosophical depth of the revelation. Even Stone, always cautious, now seemed deeply intrigued by the prospect of defenses that could safeguard Earth from unimaginable threats. But Morrison also understood the cost. They wouldn't just be explorers anymore. They would be emissaries, participants in a galactic game, far older and far more dangerous than anything humanity had ever imagined. "If we accept," Morrison asked, "what happens next?" The keeper responded with a new array of star maps and travel corridors spreading outward like veins across the galaxy. "We return to your world," it said. "We share what we know. We prepare your people. And then, we wait to see how the others respond to humanity's arrival." Morrison took a breath, the weight of his next words pressing down on him with galactic gravity. "We accept." The ship pulsed with light and energy. The atmosphere shifted, no longer ancient and inert, but alive with purpose. In that moment, a bond was formed. Humanity had just gained its first alien ally, but they had also inherited ancient enemies and a role in a cosmic struggle they were only beginning to understand. What had once been a lifeless derelict now hung in space, alive, with energy so immense it seemed to bend the stars around it. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the transformed vessel, now a seamless fusion of human ingenuity and alien brilliance, watching as ancient and modern technologies operated in perfect harmony. Over the past 3 days, the Keeper had rebuilt itself. The result was a ship unlike any in existence, a hybrid that merged the boundless creativity of humanity with the unimaginable precision of the architects. "The propulsion system is ready," reported Dr. Nathan Cole, standing beside an interface of light and crystal. "We can reach Earth in less than a day even, though we're hundreds of light years away." Lieutenant Commander Lisa Barnes studied the glowing star charts projected around them. "The Keeper has shown us where the others are, every remaining Guardian ship scattered across the galaxy. Some are still active, others are silent. But 3, she hesitated, 3 are already on the move, and they're heading straight for us." The air grew heavier with the weight of Morrison's next decision. By choosing to ally with the Keeper, humanity had announced its presence to ancient, powerful intelligences, some of which had spent thousands of years in silence. Not all of them would welcome humanity's arrival. "What are our options?" Morrison asked. The Keeper's reply shimmered into view, written in glowing symbols. "We can run, hide, fight, but eventually, we must face them. The only question is, on our terms, or theirs." Sergeant Rick Stone had been training with the new defense systems. The ship had integrated. With the Keeper's help, the vessel now carried technology capable of defending entire planets or destroying them. "If we're going to stand a chance, Earth needs to know what's coming." Morrison nodded. The Keeper had shown them how to build quantum communication arrays, systems that could send messages across the galaxy instantaneously. "Send it," he said. "Everything. The Keepers, the partnership, the threat. Earth needs time to prepare." As the message was transmitted, Morrison made another fateful choice. Half of the crew would return to Earth aboard the Horizon to help ready humanity for what lay ahead. The other half would remain aboard the Keeper to continue learning, evolving, and preparing for the coming storm. Chief Engineer Amy Parker chose to return. "Someone has to teach Earth's engineers how to build the defenses this ship showed us. That's my mission now." First Officer Danny Walsh and Commander Helen Torres also opted to go back, taking their tactical experience and insights to Earth's military, but Dr. Cole and Barnes stayed. The opportunity to learn from the Keeperane intelligence that spanned millennia was too great to leave behind. Stone stayed as well, his eyes fixed on the mission ahead. "I've spent my life defending people," he said. "This time, I get to help protect 2 species. That's worth staying for." The party was emotional. They knew the galaxy had just become far bigger and far more dangerous than any of them had imagined. But they also knew this was bigger than themselves. They were now humanity's first ambassadors to the stars. Before the Horizon departed, the Keeper revealed one final truth. "There is something else you must know." Everyone turned toward the pulsing display. The architects did not vanish. They are still out there beyond space, in dimensions your kind cannot yet perceive. They have been watching, waiting, to see if any of their guardians would find a species worthy of their attention. Morrison felt a cold weight settle in his chest. "You mean, they might return? If this partnership succeeds, your species proves capable of wisdom, cooperation, and growth, then yes, the architects may come back." The Keeper watched as the Horizon departed, the small human ship now carrying the future of an entire world. It looked tiny compared to the colossal alien vessel, but Morrison knew it wasn't the size that mattered. It was the courage that had brought them this far. "Are you ready for what comes next?" Morrison asked quietly. "I have been alone for 3,000 years, the Keeper replied. "Having companions, Again, even ones so different from my creators is like waking from a long sleep. Whatever comes, we will face it together. Then the ship moved not through space, but by folding space around itself. In a heartbeat, they traveled farther than any human ship had before. The keeper was taking them to a hidden place from prying eyes where they could prepare for the arrival of the other keepers. As stars blurred past them, Morrison reflected on the message Earth had just received. Right now, leaders across the globe would be reading words that would change the course of history. Confirmation of alien intelligence, advanced technologies, and a threat unlike anything Earth had ever faced. The world would never be the same, but neither would its possibilities. With the Keeper's knowledge, humanity now had the tools to solve its greatest problems: poverty, disease, even death itself. They had stepped into a future shaped not just by survival, but by potential. The other Keepers will test you, the ship warned. They will want to see if humanity is truly worthy of partnership, or just another species to be catalogued, and ultimately, controlled. Morrison smiled faintly. Then they're going to be surprised. Humans don't give up, and we sure as hell don't back down from a challenge. The ship pulsed with a vibration that Morrison now recognized as amusement. Yes, the Keeper said. That is one of the things I find most interesting about your kind. As they hurtled toward the future, Captain Jake Morrison understood one thing with absolute certainty. This was only the beginning. A derelict ship, once thought to be dead, had come back to life, and with it, the greatest chapter in humanity's history had just begun.